the War Tales.
Alright boys, I've been working on these WARTALES Extreme Start Guides, and I decided to test my luck on Community Update number 5, just to test the waters and see if it is more difficult, and I can report that it definitely does feel more difficult. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I could have survived without the tavern, and honestly, I don't think I would have survived without using some extreme exploits, which is what we're going to get into today. Basically, this is an exploit where you can use the tavern to reduce the upkeep of a few of your companions to 0. This is something that is fairly obvious, I think, and probably a lot of you have already sort of figured this out anyway. But the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the tavern. You can use it to reduce the cost of recruiting companions, first off. So if we go to recruit one of these companions, the price is based on how many people are in your party. So if you decide to reduce the size of your party by sending some of your companions to the tavern, it will also reduce the price of recruiting these folks.
I'd rather become a mercenary than beg on the market square.
So, something very useful, very helpful, and like I said, probably fairly obvious. This is something that you can also do with the travel posts using the garrison slots to reduce the recruitment cost of these guys. And this is basically a pure exploit because there's no real downside to it aside from the extra bit of clicking you have to do and the mess that it kind of makes of your camp when you bring them back into your camp, because they won't be at the same spots. So a little bit tedious, but definitely worth the trouble, I think. The next exploit I'm going to show you is, well, I mean, it's along the same lines, but basically, when you rest, you have to pay the wages of your companions, obviously. But if you send these guys back to the tavern, I'll do this one more time, what happens is you don't have to pay their upkeep. Reduces the amount of crowns you have to pay. And I was thinking about this, well, you say, well, when you bring them back, you have to pay their upkeep costs. Yes. However, what I discovered was if you do this continually, you will only ever have to pay the most recent set of wages. So this doesn't accumulate. The wages don't build up over time. This is something that probably a lot of people are going to want patched in some way, which I feel like probably wouldn't be a difficult thing to do. Just keep a running counter of how many wages are due, and that way eventually you'll have to pay them. But if you do this, you'll only ever have to pay if you decide, okay, I want to take advantage of the camp equipment, because unlike the recruitment exploit, this does have a downside because you're not taking advantage of the camp equipment. You're not getting extra valor from the tent or extra happiness from the campfire with guys sitting in the tavern. So while you're not having to pay these guys upkeep, you're not maximizing your camp equipment, which in the early game you may not necessarily need to do. And like I said, this pretty much saved me. Reducing the upkeep cost of these guys to 0 basically saved my campaign, and then I started doing it, and I'm like, well, you know what? Why don't I keep doing this? This seems to be working pretty well. And discovered that indeed, over time, you will only have to ever pay the most recent wages. So do with this what you will, guys. Type of player, I don't mind the occasional exploit here and there. It's fun to try and discover these things, and I mean, probably a lot of you have already sort of figured this out on your own, because it's relatively obvious. I mean, the wages not stacking, maybe not as obvious, but if you do this continually, you'll kind of figure out that the wages don't stack. But in any case, I'm a little bit behind schedule, guys. I apologize. The extreme playthrough is going to be coming up soon. I just want to get a couple of these start guides finished off before I get back into that, and we might even do like a live stream of like a fresh start before we get back into the extreme playthrough. I'm kind of like on the fence whether or not I want to do that. So if you guys want to see sort of like an experimental stream where we do multiple starts, just multiple restarts of the campaign, just to try and figure out what the best way to start the campaign is, let me know if you guys want to see that before we get back into our extreme playthrough. But I do have one more exploit to show you guys, which is hopefully I'll get it posted either today or tomorrow. But basically, I have a method for reducing your suspicion to 0 with a 100% guard avoidance. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I hope this was helpful for you guys. And as I said, I really struggled. Things went sideways very, very quickly and had a hard time post community update number 5. So have yourselves a wonderful day. Otto signing out.